Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, I am camping again. Yes, it's kind of another gorgeous day. It's a little cool here for the middle of July, which is very odd, but I'm not going to complain at all. And I've got a whole bunch of news for you, and the first one here is global. So reportedly, Microsoft servers around the world are getting impacted in a very big way, and this is all thanks to something known as CrowdStrike. Now, this is not just affecting servers, it's affecting a whole bunch of stuff here, and people are calling it the biggest IT outage ever, and bigger than something that was Y2K back in the day. So experts are saying this is from badly written code that was incorporated in an update, and it is affecting a lot of different things. And apparently it's going to take a while before all of this is sorted. It could take days. Now, the obvious low-hanging fruit here is to say something like, haha, this is why Linux is better than Windows. One of many reasons why Linux is better than Windows. But realistically, this is bad for Windows in a very big way. This is bad for Microsoft in a very big way. And this is bad for a lot of people in a very big way. And I'm very curious to see what happens next. I'm curious to see if Microsoft is going to be impacted as a whole financially. I really don't know what's going to happen here, but at the same time, I hope something like this doesn't happen again. But moving on, and next up, we're talking about Microsoft again. And this is more bad news for Microsoft, but arguably good news for gamers. So do you remember the Game Pass price hike that we talked about a little while back? And the fact that Call of Duty was restricted to the top tier of the Game Pass? Well, it turns out the FTC has been paying very close attention to this. They're already in the middle of filing an appeal to the earlier judgment, and they're adding this one in. So at a high level here, the FTC is basically saying that this is one prime example of the monopolistic practices that can happen now because of Microsoft's purchases and acquisitions and how big it is now. And moving on from that, next up we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Ryujinx. Now, we talked about Ryujinx yesterday, and there were a few reports that after that update, Ryujinx was performing worse than before. So be mindful of that. If you are experiencing issues, feel free to downgrade. Anyways, here Ryujinx also just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, version 1353 is the latest update. And this update fixes games like TMNT, Splinter's Fate, and others that have profanity checks, and is targeted at firmware 16.0.0 plus. Next up here, this one's a quick one, but a real fun one, especially if you've got some old SNES gamepads laying around. It turns out someone is working on creating some replacement silicone little pads for them, which is absolutely amazing. I'm a big fan of this project. I'm very curious to see how it ends up turning out. It looks like it's going to be turning out really good. I've got a whole bunch of SNES controllers laying around, and over the years the rubber in them does degrade, and they don't perform as well as they used to. And this would probably breathe a whole bunch of new life into those controllers and make them a lot more fun to use. I mean, I've been resorting to using 8-bit DOE controllers because they closely mimic the original SNES controller. But at the same time, nothing beats the original. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Do you have old SNES controllers laying around? And speaking about interesting, next up we're talking about something that really surprised me. Again, like everything I talk about, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. Anyways, apparently 82% of gamers playing freemium titles buy something from those titles. Not joking here, right out of the gate, I thought that number would have been much lower just due to my own experiences. I don't really purchase a whole lot in freemium titles ever. I just play them until they're not fun anymore. And even more interesting, the survey found that 62% of people over the age of 18 are engaged in gaming, which is a lot more than I would have expected. I mean, gaming, yes, is absolutely huge, and yes, there's a lot of money for companies in gaming. But at the same time here, I didn't realize that gaming is so big. And I also didn't realize people are spending a lot of money in freemium titles, which tells me that as soon as companies find out about this, there's going to be even more freemium titles out there. But moving on, and next up, if you're a fan of game modding, if you're a fan of Fallout 4, or if you're a fan of just watching some pretty cool stuff, I'll drop a link to this video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. This person has over 300 mods running in Fallout 4. It's running at 8K and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's such a cool thing to see, and I do recommend checking it out. Now, looking through the comments of that video, and the biggest complaint seems to be the lens flare, which I'm pretty sure is probably 1 or like 10 mods or something that they've got activated that you could easily deactivate. And I'm very curious as to how big of a PC you need in order to run all this. Now, I mean, they do have the specs listed in the video, but at the same time here, if you take a look at the top left-hand corner, at times that computer is completely maxed out. And I don't know if they have anything running in the background. I mean, if you've got some stuff running, will it max the computer out even more? This is absolutely insane. And speaking about videos, next up, this one's just a quick heads up. IGN has a 10-minute exclusive video posted on their YouTube channel, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. And it's for Star Wars Outlaws. So if you're excited about this game, you can see 10 minutes of it. IGN also says throughout the month of July, they'll have even more gameplay footage, which honestly is not surprising considering the game releases at the end of August 30th, I think. Moving on, and next up, we're talking about a Kickstarter that seems to be shaping up to be very popular, and it hasn't even started yet. And this is all because it's being created by the developers of Chibi Robo. They're trying to create a brand new game based on Chibi Robo, a spiritual successor. This one is going to be called Robo. I'll drop a link to the Kickstarter in the description below. It hasn't started yet, but I am very closely paying attention to this one. Let me know your thoughts about it. Next up, we're talking about a controller that's been making its way around the internet, and it turns out that it's 100% real, but also being produced in an extremely limited quantity, all as part of a brand new giveaway for the Deadpool movie. So Microsoft and Deadpool, I guess, or Marvel Studios or whatever, has come together and designed this crazy new controller. And the back of the controller is basically Deadpool's butt. No doubt that if someone wins this thing and uses it to play games, they'll be basically massaging Deadpool's butt as they're playing. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this is all paired with a Deadpool themed console. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to it in the description below, and feel free to check out the contest yourself. Next up, we're talking about something that was very surprising to me. It may not be surprising to some people, but it was surprising to me given the direction that games are currently going. It turns out here that NetherRealm has laid off their entire mobile studio. So this news was spotted over on Reddit and then on Reset Era, and a lot of people are talking about this one now, and to be honest with you, I thought NetherRealm would have beefed up their mobile team and not cut it. But who knows, I guess they don't think mobile is the way of the future. And last up here, we're talking about Artic Base, which I think is a super cool project. This project basically lets you broadcast your 3DS games to an emulator from your 3DS without having to dump them. And Artic Base just got a brand new update that also lets you use the 3DS as a controller. If you are curious about this one, it's up on GitHub. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. It's 100% free and open source. And some people have asked, what's the point of Artic Base, considering you can just use your 3DS in games? And I'll say, yes, you could, but at the same time here, using Artic Base allows you to use all of the features that an emulator has to offer. And if you're into game capturing, if you're into streaming, Artic Base provides a very good option. But anyways, oh, look, a rabbit. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff, or technically a fluff, not the one fluff. She's not in this video. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.